What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Mobetta Trading Channel, where we are teaching y'all the simplest and purest way to read pure price action on the charts. And man, guys, we had us a damn day today. After going through some suffering for weeks, right? Suffering for weeks in the crypto market, and the last week or so in the traditional markets, with the ES and NASDAQ and QQQ, all these things. We had an absolutely phenomenal day today. The traditional market is gaining about 12%, the second largest percentage gain in a single day since 2008, since the great financial crisis, right? That is insane. Had about a 12% move. With that, Bitcoin was up at one point almost 10% today, still sitting at about 8.5% up. Altcoins like XRP up 14%, Solana up 12%. Ethereum even Ethereum is up 12.5%. And man, it really played out exactly as we had lined up for y'all in the video yesterday. What I was telling y'all yesterday, man, if we were getting down to this support area at 75,000, you would look for a bullish candle to develop on support. You wanted a bullish candle to develop on support to retest the other side of the range. And man, not only did we retest it, we blew right through it. And if you go back and look at the channel, at the video the day previous to that, or the video previous to that, we were talking about how we could not sustain bullish momentum until we closed above about $81,300. And we are sitting currently at $82,830. What a phenomenal move. And guys, like I said, you didn't need indicators, you didn't need volume profiles, you didn't need any of that shit. Now, it did help that we got the news of Donald Trump, suspending tariffs for 90 days. And I told y'all on Tuesday that today, I told y'all on Monday and Tuesday that today was going to be really the big day as far as markets were concerned, because we were going to see if there was going to be any negotiations going on, what was going to happen with China. Was Trump going to go forward with the tariffs? Was he going to end up pausing them or lifting them altogether? And we got our answer. We got a 90-day pause, and Bitcoin freaking rocketed, man. From the moment he announced it, Bitcoin gained over $6,500. Over $6,500. That's a phenomenal move. Came a little bit later in the day, right? It happened at about 11 a.m., 12 o'clock. It was the 11 a.m. candle, but I believe the news didn't really hit the markets until about 12. And just skyrocketed from there. And again, we had beautiful price action. A perfect retest of support. We had a bullish engulfing on the 4-hour, which I laid out for the Discord. I told them, literally, as this 4-hour candle finished, I said, bottom is forming here. We got the bullish engulfing on support. Now all we needed was follow through above 78K, and we were off to the races. And sure enough, boom, got the perfect move. Wonderful entry. Basically zero drawdown if you were able to get in there. You can't really do it any better than that, right? Now, with that being said, I had to come on and make you guys aware that just because we had a great move like this does not mean you just pile into your longs, you just pile into taking trades, and you FOMO in here, right? Because with large moves always comes retracements, right? Now, whether that retracement, comes all the way back, whether we end up seeing a retest of support, we won't know until it actually happens, but we can map out levels that we would be willing to look at to enter trades, right? And for me, the best thing we can do, we got about 22 minutes until this daily candle closes. If we close, which I imagine we will close somewhere around here, closing up here is going to be excellent. What we will be looking for is a wick down to retest the previous breakout level, whether that's at 80,000, 80,750, maybe it's a little bit lower. Who knows? We'll have to see as price develops at that time. But these are the areas where we would be looking for price to retrace to for us in order for us to enter long, okay? So let's go ahead. On the daily, again, we had that support. We had the resistance level drawn out, completely blew through it. The next logical area in my opinion, of resistance is if we can get above, about 84, 85,000. We still got a very long wick here, right? We still got a very long wick right here. That was a shooting star type wick. So that's a reversal candle, right? So now we're gonna have some really strong resistance developing here, or has already developed, and so we're gonna just have to see how price fights through this area. Does that mean we'll get through it tomorrow? Does that mean we'll get through it this week? Maybe, maybe not. I would say that typically on moves like this, market has to settle a little bit. So we might see some consolidation going into Thursday and Friday, over the weekend even, and see how the week plays out next week. But we'll just take it day by day, right? We'll take it day by day. For now, we are looking very, very good in a time where everybody was very scared that, the next recession is coming, that everything's going to zero, blah, 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 all the fear mongering that was going on. Simple price action tells you, man, just wait for things to confirm themselves and go from there, right? And so right now, what we're seeing is a daily confirmation, bullish engulfing of the previous 2 daily candles. We're testing resistance at the 83,500 area, right? So what we would want to see happen is a wick down, and whether price kind of just sits here or not doesn't really, is hard to say. But we want to see a wick down and a push up above this candle. If we can push up above this candle's high, break the candle high, and then get a close up here, I mean, we got a really good range to fill. We got a lot of range to fill over here, right? And not very, I wouldn't say this is very strong resistance anymore. But we'll have to see. Again, you can't just go blindly longing, right? You just have to have, just like anything else, even though it looks good, you still have to have price develop in the way you want to see it. All right, so let's go down to the 4 hour now. On the 4 hour, of course, we got this area of resistance, which it's acting as pretty good resistance right now. We'll have to see if that's going to sustain itself. I would say that even for me, the more logical resistance area would be, up into here, up into the 87,000 area. Up into the 87,000 area. Now, if we can really reclaim up here and hold up here, then we're looking to shoot. We're looking to shoot to the upside, definitely, into the 90K area. And just like that, after all the weeks of misery, after all the weeks of uneasiness, you print one massive candle and all of a sudden things aren't looking quite as bad, right? So like I was saying before though, just because you got a good candle does not mean that we're not going to come and retest this area. This is obviously going to be a really good area to retest. It was the area that we broke. Is it necessary that we completely retest 80,300, 80,250? No, it's not necessary, but is it likely? I would say usually, yeah. In moments like this, it's pretty likely, right? So I would like to see something, again, develop here where we form support and we're able to get up out of here. Whether that happens immediately on the 4 hour, whether it happens this week, we don't know, okay? All right, but for right now, we're just mapping out levels that we'd be interested in doing business, okay? You have to know areas where you would be interested in doing business, all right? So if we drop down into the 1 hour, the 1 hour lines up pretty good. We can even adjust this. The 80,750 area, 735 area was where we broke out from. As you can see, we are breaking lows here. This is a flat candle here at about 81,700 and what is this? 81,770. So we could start to see some support form here. I wouldn't be surprised to see price, kind of wick down. If it goes boom and then recovers here, could see something like that. We could just see it, just test down and maybe it comes down like this and recovers. There's several different ways that things like this could develop. But what we do know is that this is an area where we would want to see some support develop. And should we break that support, we'd want to see support develop around this area, around the yellow highlighted area, and just go from there. All right, super easy. Very obvious levels of invalidation in my opinion. And then if we're not even able to get down, to this area completely, what we'd want to see is a break in a close above 83,000, I would say above like 83,500 in order for us to continue moving bullish. And then there's room to the left over here. There's some liquidity that's been built up over on this side, right? So we got really, really good areas to be targeting, okay? Yeah, man, it looks really, really good. For all the selling that has gone on over the last 2.5, 3 months, we finally are getting some relief. Whether this is just a relief rally or the continuation of the bull market is yet to be seen. My bet is on continuation, personally, especially with the way that Bitcoin especially has held up as the rest of the stock market is sold off massively. The rest of the crypto market was down, 50, 60, 70%. Bitcoin has only been down 30%, and just like that took back, 12% gains. So this is a pretty good range to deal within as well. We got from 83,000 to about 81,700. That's a good range to deal within, right? So maybe we come back up here, and if we can't break above it, we retest, and then we come back down here and we do something like this. It's the ebb and flow of the market. You had to see what you're going to get. Okay? But this is a very good range to be trading within. Gives you a lot of opportunity. And if we're able to break out, we got a really good range, a really good breakout range to test. That would be about a $1,200 range, about 1.5% range. So that'd be really good as well. Right? You just have to understand what you're looking for, have to know what you're looking for, and execute. Know what you're looking for and execute without hesitation. Okay, boom. So that's Bitcoin. Very, very easy, very simple. I love simple analysis. I love easy analysis. It makes your life easier. It makes it less stressful in trying to figure out where there are good areas to enter. Right now, we got a really good area. We got a good range developing. There's plenty of range to trade within, and you can also trade the breakouts. So awesome. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on to, we definitely need to get, if we can get above, I'd say if we can get above $83,630, we should be able to continue to this upside target around 87K. Maybe possibly higher, maybe fill the wick all the way at 88,000. But at least we should be able to get above, in my opinion, at least above 85, 86,000. Okay. Sweet. Man, it's just beautiful. Had the failure pattern as well, and an engulfing. That is just, man, it's incredible. It really is incredible. We just need some follow through now. Some follow through would be absolutely excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and get down into ETH. Man, look at ETH. ETH doing the same thing. Everything's gonna be printing about the same pattern that Bitcoin is now. Bitcoin's candle is obviously a lot larger, a lot more volume entering there, but these still look good as well. If you're trading ETH, you can target the next area of resistance would be here, obviously around $1,850. This is on the daily. Okay, so now if we drop that down into the 4-hour, again, flat candle. Y'all know, if you have been watching the channel, I don't like flat candles, so I would definitely anticipate that this is going to move down, and maybe we can find some support, double bottom again, and get up out of there. At least retest the highs. If we can get above the highs and hold, then we have a very clean range above here to test into the 1800 area, and that is about $145 move, so about 1,000 pip range, which is kind of crazy. About a 9% range that we're looking at, right? And look at this. I mean, obviously this has been, ETH was capped pretty heavily here at about 1830. So all of these stop losses, in my opinion, all of this liquidity is going to come and get taken at some point. I would prefer that it is before the weekend, but it could take some time. It could take some time. We could still have, a few days that we need price to develop. And we just have to go from there, right? But again, you want to wait for, if I can visualize it for y'all, you'd want to wait for something like this, like a bearish candle here, and maybe the next one is something like very small, right? with a little wick, or with the wick that comes down. Maybe you finish like this, and then you'd want to take the buy above here. Boom, boom. That would give you your bullish pattern, right? Something like that. Now, it's probably not going to happen exactly like this, but this is just an idea, right? This is just an idea of what you'd want to look for to retest the highs. And if we can break above 1690, we should be able to continue pushing at least up into the 1775 area to retest the underside breakdown. Preferably, we would get up into the 1830s, because that would confirm that we're no longer in a downtrend. That would confirm that we're no longer in a downtrend. That is what I would prefer. Yeah, so cool. Not going to take too much time. Obviously that's a good range. We'll drop down into the 1 hour. Again, let us find some areas of development. Even if we adjust this, look, I like this area. We got some, this was previously resistance. Tested it once, almost tested it twice. And then we were able to close above it with this candle and just rocket it through. So maybe we just get some something that tests down here, and then we base out, and you can take a bullish candle on support. Once a bullish candle on support develops, you can take the break of that high, at least back up to retest the range highs. Okay, whoops. I was going to redo that, but I can just move this back. Boom, boom. Okay. And then we have resistance developing here. I told y'all this flat candle was going to come get taken, didn't I? I told y'all these flat candles were going to come get taken. I believe, yeah. I mean, Bitcoin had one as well. The flat candle came and got taken. Came and got took up here as well. So flat candles are one area where you can definitely, at least expect price to want to retest. Maybe it doesn't every time, but quite often they will at least get revisited. Right, so this is a decent range as well. You got about a about a $54 range, so about a 500 pip range, right? That's kind of crazy, kind of nuts. You got a $54 range, about a 500 pip range. Excuse me. To test within or to trade within. So we could just do some. Sorry, man. Now the allergies are kicking in crazy. That's why I keep scratching my nose. I promise I'm not on any type of drugs. Yeah, just want to make that clear. So we could just retest in this range. We could play within this range for a little bit. Maybe we got to get some development, get some consolidation going. The best thing I love, the thing that I love most is when price is consolidating, because consolidations lead to breakouts one way or another, and typically they're going to show their hands pretty quickly, right? So we want to see price continue to consolidate here. You can trade within this range if you have ironclad discipline, if you know exactly what you're looking for, if you know where your most logical areas of entry and exit are. You can trade within this range. Otherwise, wait for a breakout, retest, and then a push up to even maybe potentially just up to 1770 where this resistance is. We could, cap out at the underside, here during the week. We could just trade, boom here and get up in here and just kind of consolidate, right? Who knows? That's what I'd be looking for. Again, you want bullish developments on support. Otherwise, you want to see a break and a retest, and then the retest to develop a bullish pattern on top of the breakout area that would continue to push us up. And yeah, golly. All right, so that's going to do it for ETH. Let's go ahead. We're just going to go back into Solana. Man, Solana is looking excellent as well. We had a doji, had another doji, two indecision candles, really long wick here, small body, long wick to the upside, small body, and then a failure to break and close lower that actually broke the high of the previous daily candle, and boom. If we can reclaim $123 for Solana, it is looking really, really, really good for it. It's looking really good. Right, big if, but if we can, good area. This is a good area, right? At the very worst, this is a very good area to trade within. Whether we escape again, whether we escape this week or not is going to be completely dependent on Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's going to be completely dependent on Bitcoin. So yeah, man, if we can look at this clean range. Y'all know how I love clean ranges. All right, boom, we got a clean range. That's a 10% range, right? That is a 10% range that we can trade up to. Very clean, as long as we can get a break and a hold above here, and boom, we'd want to see some bullish patterns developing and take that and fill this range. All right, otherwise, like I said, we could see some drawdown happen, some price developing, some consolidation, and then you'd want to see bullish patterns develop here on support, see some support being formed, and then take a break above, at least to retest the highs, but I would say to at least, in my opinion, come back and take out some of this liquidity at the very least. Okay, but if we get $123 on Solana, that's looking excellent. All right, that's on the 4 hour, so I'll just go ahead and drop down to the 1 hour just so y'all can see kind of what we're working with here. Right, I'm going to leave this here just so y'all can visualize. I need y'all to visualize acceptance above $123 and then a good move up to 130. Right, so this is developing some really tight consolidation, which is usually actually a pretty good thing. Tight consolidation is always better than loose consolidation, in my opinion. Loose consolidation means that there's not been price acceptance. Tight consolidation means there's already price acceptance and we're just battling which way we're going to go. And considering that we're down 65 to 70% on most things, I would say tight consolidation is going to lead to upside. I could be wrong. But and for me, this is not really a tradable range. It's about 3%, but only $2, so about 200 pip range. I just it's or 20 pip range, sorry. I'm just not I'm not really interested in that. Not really interested in that. So I would prefer to see price get down here and develop some support again and be able to break above, at least retest these highs, but preferably get up into this area. Boom. Okay. What you don't want to do is just take any trades right now. We're coming again to the end of the candle, to the end of the day. 7 o'clock has got to hit. So, you got a 7 o'clock candle. You're probably going to make a wick down. And we'll have to see how price kind of develops from there. But you want to see a wick down first on higher time frame. You want to see a wick down and then movement to the upside. What you don't want to see is just movement straight to the upside with no wick down, because that means there's no range, means there's no opportunities for sellers to get in, which means that area is likely to be retested again in the future. Okay. Cool. Cool. So we're developing some really, really solid range here. Just have to see how it goes. All right. And last but not least, as y'all know, we will always get to XRP last. XRP looking wonderful, just like everything else. Tried to break down, but we couldn't. XRP, in my opinion, even looks better because we didn't even come close to testing the low at $1.62, $1.61, whatever it is, was this low at. So this low is at $1.61.34. Didn't even come close to it. Reversed, took out 2 previous days highs. If we can close above here, if we can close above $2.01, that's looking really good for some upside move. And in order to continue bullish, we would need to see some bullish patterns developing on top of the support. A break and a close above $2.17 would be really good, and then holding $2.17 should lead us to the upside here around 260, 261 into the 250s area. Have to see how price reacts when it gets here. This is obviously a pretty significant area of resistance that sent price tumbling down. But we'll have to see what price wants to do when it gets there. All right, so we'll drop down onto the 4 hour. Boom. 4 hours looking lovely. Can probably adjust this a little bit. There's some messiness around here, right? So maybe even we'd have to get above, like 223 and close above it in order to continue. just because that's where the clean run of candles starts, is above $2.23, $2.24. But I still like the odds of, if we can close above here and hold, we should be able to get up out of here, right? We should be able to get up out of here. All right, that's on the 4 hour. Let's drop down to the 1 hour. Again, got some consolidation brewing. Love to see it. Love to see it. Got consolidation here. So this is resistance, right? Support. We could definitely flat candle. We could come down and retest this and come back to the upside. Now, what we don't want to see is like what we saw happen, you know, where were we at? I can't even remember where we at. But we don't want to see price come like this and hang down here and break down. And then that would be a breakdown and a retest, and then a break below this low would be a continuation to the downside. And whether we'd have to refill this whole candle or not, we don't know. But that's what we really, I mean, I personally don't want to see it. Again, I prefer bullish conditions. Bullish conditions are way more fun than bearish conditions. And I guess it doesn't really matter. You trade both ways, but it just feels more fun to go long than it does to go short, in my opinion. So, yeah. We got here. This is our range that we're building within. Again, if you decide that this is a range for you to trade within, this is about a 3.5% range. For me, yeah, just not really interested. I'd rather wait for the breakout either way. Whether that's the breakout to the downside, breakout to the upside, or if we get down into support and start forming bullish candles, then I would take longs, at least to retest the highs. But in my opinion, we would be pushing past the highs and come into this $2.16, 17 cent area. That would be ideal. All right. And if you want to go down on the 30, you can. I feel like, just keeping it on the 1 hour right now is probably better. I only come into the 30-minute when I am looking to actually enter the trade, and then monitor it on the 1 hour, 4 hour, etc. Okay, but hopefully we're getting back into long, and you can kind of walk away, hold longs for a little bit. Scalping has been very profitable if you understand exactly what you're looking for. Most people prefer being able to long and hold. Me, I don't really care. It's just more fun. It's more fun being able to long and hold, right? But however it happens, doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that's what we got, man. That's what we'll be looking for. Again, just to reiterate, either we're going to come down here and we should form some support to get us back up here, or we just meddle around, and if we can break above and then hold above $2 and about 9 cents, we should be good for a move back up to 218, at least. All right, cool. That's gonna do it for me, y'all. I don't want to hold y'all for too long, but it was too good of a day to not come on and at least show y'all what the PA was looking like, how price moves when you get the exact kind of setups and confirmations that you want. Beautiful movement. I mean, just look at these candles. Like, these are incredible candles. Yeah. If y'all have any questions, any concerns, if y'all need me to go over anything, if you need me to break things down a little bit more, what exactly you're trying to look for, hopefully it's becoming a little bit more clear. Very clear, I should say. These are moves that happen all the time in any time frame. Prices are fractal, so they happen on lower time frames, they happen on higher time frames. It doesn't matter. You just have to be prepared and know what you're looking for, right? So cool. Leave me a comment if you are enjoying the videos. Again, if there's anything that y'all want me to go over, anything else that y'all would like me to look at, any other coins y'all would like me to look at, let me know. Otherwise, I hope y'all have a fabulous rest of your week. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. We got 2 more days left in the trading week. We don't trade weekends just because. 2 more days left in the trading week, and then we'll come back on Sunday. All right. So yeah, it's gonna do it for me. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Peace.